Three, two, one. How often do you think about the Oscars? About how many Oscar-winning films there are and how many you've seen? Yeah, there's a few famous Oscar-winning films that we've all seen. You know, The Godfather and Lord of the Rings and Titanic, I'm King of the World, all that stuff. But the Oscars have been running since 1927. There are currently over 1,000 films, feature-length films, which have won an Oscar. How many have you seen? I did the numbers for myself. It's not many, and I consider myself quite a movie buff. So here then is the premise of this podcast. Every episode, I and a rotating cast of 2 guests will randomly select one of the 1,000 films that have won an Oscar, watch it, and talk about it, with the only requirement being that one of the 3 people on each episode has to have never seen the movie before we talk about it. That will get difficult with Star Wars. Please note that our coverage of a movie does not constitute an endorsement of it. My least favorite movie of 2016, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, won an Oscar for Best Makeup, while my favorite movie of 2016, The Handmaiden, wasn't even nominated for anything. Please also note that our coverage of a movie is not a blanket endorsement of any or all of the people involved in it. A lot of terrible people have won Oscars. Kevin Spacey won an Oscar 20 years before he was outed as an abuser, and Roman Polanski won one 20 years after. But every film, good, bad, or in many cases mediocre, that has won an Oscar is an important part of film history just for being there. And they all, on some level, deserve a tiny bit of consideration, even if that consideration ends up concluding that it's garbage. And with all of that in mind, I am your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey, and with me today is Charlotte Driftwood.
Unlike other Robin Hoods, I can actually speak with an Australian accent.
That's right, he does not sound English at all in this movie. And Gillian.
Howdy!
And we are here today to talk about The Adventures of Robin Hood, the 1938 film that won Best Art Direction, Best Film Editing, and Best Original Score at the 11th Academy Awards. And I think this means we have officially covered one film from every decade the Oscars have been around, so give me a round of applause, I guess. I don't know.
Snap, 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 snaps.
Give you a pizza order and a selfie.
I mentioned that to a friend of mine, and she said, you should keep track of when you've covered one movie for every award. And I said, I'm not doing that.
That sounds like a lot.
How do I count Best Cinematography black and white for that?
And with all the category renames and...
Yeah.
So what the categories were what?
The categories were Best Art Direction, Best Film Editing, and Best Original Score.
Do you know who did the original score?
1 second. It was also nominated for picture.
Do you know the story of how he got this film?
It was Eric Wolfgang Korngold. What a name.
Well, that is specifically a Jewish Austrian name in 1938.
Having a time of it, I imagine.
Yeah, so he was living in Austria and working as a composer of opera. And then a little invasion happened. He had to flee Austria. He showed up in America being like, does anyone have an opera I could compose, please? I can't be a refugee without money, please. And he got this film the fucking year Austria was invaded by Nazi Germany, and has since said that he would have died without this film. And he won a fucking Oscar for his work on it.
It's an incredibly weird year at the Oscars. And I know I say that every fucking year. But you look at it and there's this movie, which is a very famous movie. Fun fact, this is one of my dad's favorite movies. So
this is all Dad's favorite movie.
Yeah, it is very much a dad movie. There are chunks of this film that are just burned into my brain.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It was also the first year that a foreign language film was nominated for Best Picture, La Grande Illusion, which I don't think won anything, which is a shame because it's a great film.
And World War II was just a blight on the film industry and all other industries and human beings because it became so hard to internationally distribute things.
I mention this a lot for movies in the 40s in particular, but the specter of World War II is going to hang over movies until at least the mid-50s probably still to this day, but especially during this time period.
Yeah, no, and this is an incredibly World War II era movie of like, you should fight fascists because it's a good thing to do.
I was sitting there and like, so the back and forth of having a movie that you were a big fan of as a kid, or like your dad was a big fan of, unless you've seen a bunch, is that you remember lots of certain things,
Mhm.
like the scene where he's gone to see Marion, and particularly the dialogue where he's like hanging out of the window and debating which guard to jump on is like seared into my brain.
And that's also the gameplay of Assassin's Creed.
It is also the gameplay of Assassin's Creed. But, like, I had totally, like, memory hold how much of this movie is actually about the, like, Saxon-Norman racial tension.
Yeah. So for those who watch this movie to go along with the podcast, one, you're doing homework for a podcast. What is wrong with you? Two,
You're listening to my podcast. What's wrong with you?
yeah, really.
Sorry. 3. Go.
Yes, three. Normans basically means French. At one point the French invaded England and took over as the ruling class. That's why fancy words like artist are of French origin, artiste, and lower class words like farmer are of Germanic origin. Farmer, hard Germanic sounds are associated. Like if I said a farmist, you would get the idea of a fancier farmer. That's because of our language is forever affected by this time that France took England over.
Yeah, and, like, just, like, I guess I theoretically knew that about, like, my I don't know a whole lot about the actual Robin of Locksley.
Yeah.
Partially because it's just not a time period that super interests me. My most interesting historical note I think I took in my notes is, man, it's something real weird about the characters just framing the Crusades as, like, cool.
Well,
It wasn't even cool for them because they didn't even. Well, what was the only thing they got from the Crusades was bloodshed, but at what cost? There wasn't even a grail to find or anything.
no. Yeah, there is good criticism of the Crusades at some point. They do say why would a king be off fighting in foreign lands instead of at home supporting his people? But yeah, no, so the history of the Robin of Locksley thing is he was a folk hero that, let's be fucking honest here, is a metaphor for socialism and always has been. Like
Preach, yeah.
But it was worried that like this tale would be lost to time if he was, because the victors write the history. It was worried that this tale would be lost to time if it was completely anti-monarch. So they tagged on this is set when King Richard was fighting in the Crusades and Prince John was acting in his place. That's the moment of history. It was never set in a specific moment of history until like there was legitimate worry that this story would be lost to time, which it is happening again because one of the adaptations of Robin Hood, the BBC TV show, has since had the opening scroll that talks about how you should stand up to your government because it is their job to support their people, and if they're not doing so, you have to correct it. That is on a scroll in the opening of the BBC series, which has disappeared from the Amazon version of Robin Hood, that TV show. Now it is just a blank piece of paper, but it's very yellowed, so that'll get you in the mood. Just stare at that for 5 whole seconds, 10 whole seconds, whatever.
Masterful editing.
Something backrooms. That was it, like backrooms yellow or what?
It was like, it was, like the yellowed piece of parchment you see on maps and so Robin of Locksley is like a combination. He wasn't a nobleman at first. He was a farmer. At some point, he became a nobleman, probably because they wanted to put more noble sympathy into the story. It's a series of unconnected ballads, the most iconic of which being the splitting of the arrow. That's like the iconography that made people want to combine these ballads into one cohesive story. So that's why that's in every adaptation of the story.
I was literally like thinking to myself when I rolled this up, like the Robin Hood as a I don't want to say like as a story, because like what does that fucking mean? Stories are stories. Robin Hood as like an American in particular, but like a Anglosphere media property has had such a bizarre lifetime, especially once film. There are something like 30 different Robin Hood adaptations.
Oh, probably more than that. I think that's
Just in film, like not counting TV, not counting
yeah.
like I'm sure there's like some French opera that I've never heard of that uses like the score to Total Eclipse of Heart. No,
Yeah.
that's Dracula.
Oh yeah, that is Dracula. Well, it's Tons, but also
Well, Bet La Belle is the Total Eclipse of the Heart music video. But do you know of Ivanhoe? Have you heard the name at least?
I have, yes.
yes.
Ivanhoe was the first story that kind of popularized medieval sword fighting as like a genre.
Mm-hmm.
And Ivanhoe just has Robin Hood show up at one point for no reason in particular, other than like that was before there were a whole lot of copyright lawyers snooping around.
And none of this is even addressing like the large variety of characters in media who would not exist in their current form if not for Robin Hood in general and this film in particular. Like, if you like Green Arrow, I'm sorry, you're a Robin Hood fan now. You don't get a choice.
Green Arrow is certainly the character of Robin Hood, but the character of Errol Flynn in Adventures of Robin Hood is Will Turner in Pirates of the Caribbean, is
Precisely.
both Miguel and Tulio in Road to El Dorado, is 100% Wesley / the Man in Black / the Dread Pirate Roberts in Princess Bride. He says that he based that performance on Adventures of Robin Hood.
It's not even subtle. It's not like you watch the movie and he is doing, if not in voice, but in like posture, especially when he's in the mask or when he's like when he's talking to the prince, Humperdinck, is that the name of the prince?
Yeah.
When he is 100% just doing an Errol Flynn impression.
Yes, specifically Errol Flynn as Robin Hood, and then.
But Cary Elwes can actually do a British accent.
You know that Cary Elwes doesn't have a British accent naturally?
Yes.
He's lived in America since he was 18, so his accent is heavily Americanized, and like basically some pronunciations of English, some of American. So it's like he looked at the camera and lied to us. He doesn't have a British accent,
but he can do a British accent.
Exactly. No, I'm 100% obsessed with the Mel Brooks version. I consider myself non-binary, and I more specifically pirate choric. Choric genders are basing yourself on an aesthetic rather than the societal ideas of the patriarchy. And when I presented masculine, the idea was that because I am a comedian, I am not attractive. I mean, it's not a real idea that actual women hold, but it's like general societal thing getting in there and turning people into incels is that like either you are funny or you are handsome. And these Errol Flynn types, the characters, the Cary Elwes, the Will Turner, anyone with a pencil stash who swings on a rope, and they are often called pretty more often than they are called handsome, and they are allowed, especially in the case of Cary Elwes in the Mel Brooks film, allowed to be funny, allowed to be really loud Looney Tunes funny without it somehow being a roadblock of letting people see them as attractive. And that's kind of what I've based my personality around. Not this movie specifically. I didn't watch this until last year, but
oh wow,
I love this movie.
It's my follow-up point to that is that like ever since this film, like obviously every single Robin Hood adaptation since this one basically lives in its shadow. This might actually be like the most influential film we've covered on the show so far, except for The Matrix.
I came up with a way to phrase this that I wanted to put into here somehow, which is both they don't make them like this anymore, and they make all of them like this from now on.
well, like that was sort of the thing. Like I was thinking about some of the like the Robin Hood adaptations that have come out in my lifetime, and I'm not talking about like the billion different BBC like don't get jumped down my throat if I missed one. I was thinking specifically of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from
Ugh,
when I was like 1 year old when that film came out.
rotten
Fascinatingly,
fucking film.
fascinating film, if I'm being honest. Not eligible for this podcast, but someday I'll find an excuse to talk about it.
It's bad.
It's extremely bad. That's why I want to talk about it.
It was nominated for an Oscar, though.
It was nominated. It did not win. Bryan Adams does not have an Oscar, as far as I know.
You should do Losers Month just as a special one-time event.
I've thought about doing a snubs episode, which is similar in thought.
Except that one was not snubbed. That one 100% did not deserve a
I
trophy.
don't even know what beat it that year.
Have you thought about doing a Razzies month, or is that...
My original idea for this podcast was actually just going to be the Razzies, but then I remembered I fucking hate the Razzies and just didn't bother. So I was like,
Got it.
Oh, mad respect. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves song lost to fucking Beauty and the Beast.
yeah, that's not
Thank
close.
God.
Thank
Oh
That's
my
not close.
God.
No, yeah. But yeah, there's a reason that the swashbuckling prince in Tangle is named Flynn. There's
Yeah.
But like that movie is very clearly trying to not be this movie, and the 2010 Ridley Scott and the 2018 God, who directed that? I don't know who directed it.
Is that the one with Taron Egerton?
It is the one with Taron
we were all
Egerton.
going to say the star's name and not the director's name.
The director's. I was trying to remember if it was what's his name, Guy Ritchie, but no, he did like a King Arthur.
Mm.
Otto Bathurst, who directed some episodes of Peaky Blinders. He won a BAFTA for Peaky Blinders,
Peaky Blinders does slap.
and I think it's his debut film. So.
A friend of mine saw that movie in theaters and had me referring to it ever since as Zero Dark Loxley, which is extremely good. But anyway, the point I was making...
Wait, Tim Minchin was Friar Tuck in that. Holy
That's so funny.
The point I'm making is that those movies, all three of those movies, are in various extremely misguided ways trying to not be the Errol Flynn movie. And like...
And the two future adaptations that are best remembered, Disney and Men in Tights, are just being like, can we just make the Errol Flynn version again? If it ain't broke.
Don't fix it. Exactly, because I saw the Disney one first. So I was like, I know it's based on the same material, but this is fairly familiar.
No, there's no material. Like I said, it's a bunch of unconnected ballads that we only remember because we see them as the origin story of this Avenger showing up in Ivanhoe. So, like, this is the original version of this story in a lot of ways. And so Disney was just kind of cloning it. They also made it kind of a Western, which was like, the Disney version is not only what if they were animals, but also what if 1938 film was a Western.
That tracks. There could be some similarities between the swashbuckling hero with the rootin' tootin', like toughen, like
And
white.
his name is
white
Zorro.
yeah, yeah.
The similarities exist. His name is Zorro.
Funny story. Like when I finished the movie, Tubi Auto played Mask of Zorro, so.
You just watched Mask of Zorro?
I did not watch Mask. I did not just watch Mask of Zorro.
Oh, that's a shame. My point was that much like the Wolfman, we sort of have in our head that there must be an original source material it's pulling from, but this is fundamentally where most of the Robin Hood beats got nailed down.
Yeah, no, this one establishes, well, the Saxon Norman thing, I think, was probably added. I don't think it's in a previous adaptation. I think that's done because of World War II. I think the Saxons are in this film are an allegory for Jews. And I think the reason that Prince John becomes this foppish figure from this point on is just this film wanted to make Basil Rathbone look masculine by comparison. So they have a buffoon Sheriff of Nottingham and a fop Prince John, so they can have this badass evil Sherlock Holmes as Guy of Gisborne.
Well, that's what's so interesting about it, because first off, you're right that the Disney Robin Hood is essentially just going ahead and doing this movie, but what if we were creating 1,000 furries overnight
And as a Western.
as a Western? I had a professor in film school who made an argument that I did not agree with, but whatever, that all American films are in fact westerns. I don't agree, and I also don't think that Robin Hood is a western, because western is not a genre, it is a setting.
Yes, my favorite Western, All About Eve.
Yeah.
His argument was very dumb, but I'm not getting into that. My point is that like most adaptations frame the Sheriff of Nottingham as like Robin Hood's Joker to Robin's Batman. In this one, he doesn't fucking do anything.
So actually,
Much like real sheriffs.
there are 3 villains that have different turns, being at different levels of importance.
Mm-hmm.
Which overall, because I watched a lot of Robin Hood adaptations for research for something. So that would be Prince John, Sir Guy de Gisborne, and the Sheriff of Nottingham. So this movie kind of does Guy de Gisborne is the villain, but Prince John is the threat. It's a little confusing that way. And the Disney version obviously has Prince John as the villain, as the Joker to Robin Hood's Batman, with Guy de Gisborne as his lackey in Sir Hiss.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Kevin Costner version has the sheriff as the main villain, the Guy de Gisborne as his lackey, who is Wormtongue for some reason. Not the actor, just the kind of, yes. And has no mention of Prince John. And then the Mel Brooks version has Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham as an equal duo. Oh, and then, sorry, disorganized. And then in the Disney version, the sheriff is kind of like not really a character. He shows up. He's voiced by Pat Buttram for the Western vibes. So the evil, corrupt sheriff, but he's like in 2 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That he is. Can confirm.
It's just kind of interesting because like a thing that has sort of happened. You mentioned that Robin Hood Men in Tights is kind of like goes back to this version, but something that kind of got lost is that movie was actually much more dragging Prince of Thieves. It came out like, what was it, 3 years?
That's why it's called Men in Tights. There are so many digs at Prince of Thieves. The moral of that story, it's not a complicated one, but the moral of Men in Tights is 1938 Adventures of Robin Hood good, Prince of Thieves bad. And so it's the movie Men in Tights is the events of Prince of Thieves happening to the 30s versions of these characters and how that would have played out differently.
Right, that's sort of like a lot of the specific digs at the Prince of Thieves have kind of gotten lost because like nobody fucking remembers that movie. I've had people floored to find out Alan Rickman is in that movie.
Alan Rickman is that movie.
Morgan Freeman was in that movie. Oh my
Morgan Freeman and Alan Rickman are so good, and I'm like, please.
Sean Connery was in that movie.
Sean Connery, yes. It's always this establishes the trope. This film establishes the trope that at the very end, King Richard shows up, and that is as the Deus Ex Machina, and that is in every adaptation from this point on. It's often a way to get a celebrity to play a character who's central to the story, but only book him for one filming day.
That's what's so funny. Like I my brain had remembered, okay, King Richard shows up in the final scene to like, because I did remember, again, having not seen this since I was like maybe a teenager. I was going off decades old memories at this point, and I did remember very specifically like King Richard telling him, "Hey, this is my ward, Maid Marian. Marry her, motherfucker. I know you want to do that anyway." And I did, again, of course, remember excellent line delivery from Errol Flynn. May I follow all your orders with the same joy or whatever.
Oh, it was so good. That
equal pleasure.
Yeah, equal pleasure. Pleasure being a double entendre, of course. I'm so surprised at the amount of double entendres they got away with. I've never tickled a lady's fancy. I think I told my wife, I think the only reason they got away with that line is the people who were in charge of censoring films had never heard of a clitoris.
King Richard does not only show up for the final scene in this version, he is there for the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is before they established get a guest star that we cannot book for 2 days. But this gave them the idea.
He is played in this movie by Ian Hunter, and like I don't know who that guy is. He's okay. Looking at his Wikipedia page, he's probably one of those dudes I've seen in at least 3 movies.
No, it's just it's a cameo type role. They later realized.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. Like you look back at this film, and this film is the Robin Hood story
Blueprint. Yeah,
and like there is. I'm not gonna go ahead and unreservedly praise Errol Flynn as a person.
Oh yes, no.
He was, by most accounts, kind of a shitty dude.
He was a pedophile.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
There's a wonderful biopic that, every trigger warning for pedophilia and rape, but a wonderful biopic starring Kevin Kline called The Last of Robin Hood, about the
Kevin
last wife he
Kline.
took, which is a teenage fangirl of his.
But also,
Sorry.
like, yeah, sorry if you loved Errol Flynn.
We have Carrie Elwes.
We do have Carrie Elwes.
We do have Carrie Elwes, but also, like, we're not gonna go too deep into that, partially because I don't want to, like, slap too many trigger warnings at the top of this episode, and partially because Errol Flynn at this point has been dead longer than he was alive.
Right. It's not the same as supporting Joanne Rowling. Our money is not going to Errol Flynn.
I have mentioned in the past, and I mentioned in the opening, we are going to talk about shitty people in these as I say in the opening. Roman Polanski has multiple Oscars. Kevin Spacey has multiple Oscars.
Woody Allen has multiple Oscars.
Woody Allen has so many fucking Oscars, I swear to God.
Why do the talented people have to be shitty people as well?
My point is that, like, so I am aware that Errol Flynn is a bad dude.
Okay, full disclosure, I'm not that familiar with Woody Allen's filmography. I'm just saying there's correlation. Sometimes there's causation.
Well, I mean, why the shitty people have to be bad dudes is probably Ayn Rand. She wrote a book that said if you're talented, you should be shitty. And that was pretty well selling.
So I would argue that so this is an actual interesting thing that I've made this point on a couple of occasions, but I don't know if I've ever made it completely here, which is, and this is like kind of just a follow on from the idea of film as a singularly authored thing, which I understand why auteur theory is useful. I also think it's kind of bullshit.
Because they kept firing directors, so they invented auteur theory.
But the simple fact is that the reason you see so many shitty people at that level of power is because if you're not that level of talented and powerful, you don't get away with acting that way.
No, and also, like, there are a lot of people who just have never had access. Like, a lot of people who have been moral people simply because being immoral would be expensive or difficult for them. Like, so there are a lot of people who never had to question their morals because they never had money, who come into money very, very quickly and do not have time to do the self-work.
There's an extremely good quote, which is said by, I forget the name of the biographer, but it's about Lyndon B. Johnson. And he said that people say that power corrupts, and it doesn't. Power reveals. When you give the guy the power to do whatever they want to do, you're going to find out what the guy wanted to do. And that I didn't want to speak unreservedly positively on Errol Flynn.
No.
Dude was shitty. But also, I can't really talk about this entire genre of film without talking about the insane level of influence he had over it. And yeah, he's really good at this shit.
To me, at this point, he's dead. There's no way my money could go to him even if I tried. So to me, Errol Flynn is no longer a human being. Even his victims, our great grandparents, are dead. So like, to me, he is no longer a human being. He is a trope, and he is a trope that I love. The Errol Flynn is a character archetype that this movie kind of invented.
I mean, if you really wanted to get your money to him, he's buried in Glendale. You could like dig him up and put some in his coffin.
I'll give my money to a pedophile as long as I can get a good shovel.
I don't know why I went with that bit. That was a stupid bit.
You laughed at my punchline to it, so apparently that was why.
We'll go with it. Yeah, I don't remember where I was going. Oh, it's just like you said it earlier. Like, he is such an influential actor, and unfortunately, when you watch this movie, man,
he's fantastic in this film. I don't think there's a way to complain about his performance.
The only joke that I had at like his acting expense is like, man, his sword fighting technique is really fucking funny in this movie.
Oh, he's a terrible, terrible, terrible sword fighter, which is really funny because Basil Rathbone is the best in the business. He's like a fencer and actor equally as far as his skill sets go. So the reason the climax is the way it is, where Guy Gisborne is just fucking digging into Robin, is they decided to play with the fact that they have one actor who's a really good sword fighter and one actor who's a really bad sword fighter.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you know what? Let's just make that the fucking climax.
I'm a huge fan of the first fight at the feast where fucking Errol Flynn is just whirling the sword around his head for some reason.
Because it looks cool!
And this is why the joke of Princess Bride is the maximalist version of these types of films. It's not like we want to lampoon swashbucklers. We just want to make them more swashbuckling, which is why there's a fight scene with two Zorros. And Inigo Montoya, who is based on Zorro, and the Man in Black, who is dressed as Zorro. It's like, you say the best sword fight in history only had one Zorro? Pathetic.
If Zorro was so good, why didn't they make a Zorro 2? Why aren't there two?
Like, is Zorro a good enough swordsman to best himself, is the question that scene poses that no one had asked before.
But can he beat Goku?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
The reason they never made a Zorro 2, it's really sad. This, like, billionaire and his wife got shot outside the theater.
Oh,
one of the showings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no!
Oh, yeah.
So are we at a point in history now where Bruce Wayne is canonically a fan of... Sorry, blanking on the actor's name.
Antonio Banderas.
Are we at the point now where Bruce Wayne is canonically a fan of Antonio Banderas?
If it's a young Batman, then yes.
Yeah.
Because that movie is 20-ish years old.
So...
Oh my god, I'm so old.
You don't look it. The joke is our cameras are off, sorry. But also, you don't look it.
A lot of the current identity of swashbuckler as a genre is historical revisionism, claiming criminals were always leftists. Like, that's what Pirates of the Caribbean is. But Pirates movies from the 30s, often the pirates were the villains. Treasure Island from the 50s is the most famous example from Walt Disney, / the book that spawned the whole pirate genre. So, like, the morals of Robin Hood started seeping into just any character that holds a sword. I guess Zorro, was already fighting for Mexican independence in New California. But, like, I guess Robin and Zorro, their politics start being a defining feature of the genre because of this.
You know what? Do you know what I just realized? You mentioned since Kevin Kline played Errol Flynn's like, oh my god, the Pirate King is an Errol Flynn!
No, I mean, fantastic fucking casting. Kevin Kline as he does an amazing Errol Flynn impression. So, like, the level of charm with which Robin talks to Maid Marian in that movie, he does talking to the girl in the biopic.
I mean, part of the... So there are arguments about how much each of these different varieties of swashbucklers, Captain Blood was kind of influenced by Robin Hood. Robin Hood was kind of influenced by Zorro. Zorro was kind of influenced by Cyrano de Bergerac,
And it's worth mentioning there was already a famous adaptation of Robin Hood starring Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in Hollywood at the time. That was a silent film. And the reason Little John is so old is because they just got the actor back. They're like, you know what? No one can play Little John better. You already did it perfectly.
I mentioned this to Gillian before we started. I find it extremely funny how not only... this is a thing that changes from a lot of adaptations. Robin Hood in this version loses to Little John, and they're both just, like, incredibly chill about it.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, did you see that, Will? This guy just kicked my ass. Let's be his best friend.
Let's be buddies with him.
It's so good. I love, we could make, yes, Errol Flynn was a terrible sword fighter, but the giant smile on his face when he's sword fighting, I'm not looking at his handwork. It's so, like, they parody it so perfectly in Men in Tights of just like smiling like, I don't know, like you just got a really good Christmas present when you're sword fighting is so funny and so charming. Big open mouth smile.
Okay, but on the subject of me saying something, I didn't expect the costumes to be bedazzled. Or there to be so much jewel.
My wife was like, these costumes are so beautiful, and I bet they are like 0% historically accurate. I'm like, oh yeah, no, not even a fucking little bit.
Like, it's sparkly. He's got little rhinestones on he's on his sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of where I was sort of like circling around, which is that, like,
costumes.
as society has progressed and tastes have changed, but not as much as film producers like to pretend.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of doing swashbuckling movies has kind of gone up.
Yeah, for a long time, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 was the most expensive film ever made.
Four is still in like the top 3 or something.
Oh, so 3 was at the time it came out.
3 was like one of the most expensive at the time it came out. 4 is Pirates of the Caribbean most expensive movie ever. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Jurassic World Dominion is currently the record holder. But yes, the most expensive of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies is Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides.
That's awful. That's a waste of money.
I liked Stranger Tides, but also
I like Stranger Tides, but it has stage play vibes, and you could have made it look cheesier. It has like storybook vibes, like this is the mermaid chapter, this is this chapter, and I think a low budget, more Princess Bride or even fairy tale theater looking set design actually would have been in service of that movie instead of played against it.
To put this a little bit in perspective for both you two and the audience, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tide is the 6th most expensive movie ever made. The second finisher from that franchise is At World's End, which is the 16th.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which is the 16th in a 4-way tie with The Last Jedi, the final Mission Impossible movie, and Justice League.
So what happened there was Spielberg. Spielberg is credited with inventing the blockbuster, and what that really means is he pitched an idea of a movie that is only the good parts. If Adventures of Robin Hood is playing on TV and you're doing the dishes, which part do you move to the couch for? Can you make a movie using only those scenes? And Indiana Jones changed the way adventure movies were made from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's no longer affordable to do. It's a little bit cooler. This is fucking cool. Watch this movie. It's great. It aged well, but
that's what comes from production design and hype moments and aura.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what the kids say.
Aura.
It also runs into the problem where, like,
that is what the kids say, right?
Yes, you got it.
I have no idea what the kids say anymore.
I'm a YouTuber. I unfortunately am forced to know. Yes, you got it.
I was born in 2000. I'm a passive observer.
I bet you what?
I mentioned this on 6 Degrees American Psycho. The movie came out a month after.
I'm so old. I'm so fucking old.
Power word age moment. Dabbing.
Everyone's fucking power word aging me on this podcast. I swear to God.
Are you older than me?
I'm 35.
You're a little older than me. We would have been in the same middle school. That's pretty close in age.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it to the bank.
I'm 32 to the best of my knowledge.
My point was that, like, you're right that Spielberg did, in fact, kind of alter the way movies were made. But also, like, studio execs have long memories, and Cutthroat Island was, like, the biggest bomb for a very long time. I think John Carter finally overcame it.
Cutthroat Island is the one that is blamed just because we don't like talking about Polanski, but where Polanski met that girl was she is in the pirate film that was for some fucking reason eventually finished and released a decade later.
How bizarre. How bizarre. I don't know if you can hear the sirens.
I can hear the sirens.
They're coming for Polanski.
Yeah, that's good. They should get him. And it is kind of a shame because, like, I don't know, I do miss swashbuckling movies. Speaking of shitty people, I don't like the back half of those Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
No.
But, they had a vibe going for a hot minute there, and we could have used more of that.
Yeah, that's my favorite film trilogy. So of course I have to like this film. It rips it off so frequently. Ripping off, once enough movies rip off the same movie, that's called a genre and not copyright infringement.
Ah, I see.
But yeah, no, I mean, Orlando Bloom as Will Turner and Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Swann are the franchise, and Johnny Depp is the donkey, is the genie, is, to put it in the screenwriter's other films parlance, it's like making the movies about Jack Sparrow not only is putting a more problematic figure in the forefront, not to say that Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom probably don't have their controversies, but also is like, what if we just made Cars 2? What if it was Cars 2 from this point out? We can just do Cars 2 from here.
I've seen none of the Cars movies, so I don't know what that reference means.
Okay, so Cars is about a charming guy from California learning that small towns have heart, and Larry the Cable Guy is in there as a comic relief stereotype of low-income Americans.
Oh, good. I'm glad I haven't seen it now.
Now, the second movie is about the comic relief stereotype of low-income Americans. And also, Lightning McQueen, the movie star type character, shows up like once in one or two scenes.
And he gets on a zany misadventure regarding spies.
Yeah.
And the Pope exists in the Cars universe.
Yes. The first one is Doc Hollywood. The second one is The Man Who Knew Too Little / The Man with One Red Shoe.
Thankfully, it is not eligible for this podcast, so I never need to watch it. Goodbye, Cars.
Yeah.
Let's retroactively give an Oscar to Life is a Highway.
Right? The cover of Life is a Highway. You can't give Oscars to cover songs. You can't give Oscars
That's
to
also
cover
the joke. Okay, maybe Real Gone then.
Yeah.
I think it was nominated for Best Original Song for something.
Hold on, let me...
Hold 1 second.
Let's nominate Larry the Cable Guy for an Oscar just to see the rest of the Oscar people be pissed off and upset.
It is nominated for Best Original Song for Our Town by Randy Newman. Okay, why not?
Sure.
Why not? I was totally gonna make another comment there.
No, sorry.
Oh, Dreamgirls was that same season.
That was a year. Sure was a year.
Can I talk about my wife's analysis of Maid Marian, having watched several adaptations of Robin Hood with her?
Fire away.
Yes.
She says this is the best Maid Marian, and we've regressed because she is not just the love interest. She is not just the damsel in distress. She is the audience avatar who maybe hasn't questioned fascism as much as they should. She is the person who gets exposed to a different way of thinking and a different understanding of the underprivileged people in the country.
She is Buttercup to some extent.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that movie is so this movie. Gallivant is so this movie. It's all this movie.
Gallivant is so this movie.
I did point out in my notes, one of the problems that a lot of Robin Hood adaptations have, and this is a problem a lot of, I don't want to say traditionally male genre movies have, because what does that fucking mean? But a lot of more action-oriented genre movies have, is they know they want a love interest. Because, that's your, 4-quadrant shit, right?
Wait, did you say 4 quadrants?
I did say 4-quadrant.
That's
why they throw a love interest in there, but they never know what the fuck to do with them.
So it's a mate's... So, I was I heard quadrants and immediately went to Homestuck.
I've never read a single page of Homestuck, and I'm given to understand that I can't now.
4 quadrants in this case refers to appealing to every demographic, which is paradoxically impossible. It's like Avengers is a good example of 4 quadrant shit. Is those movies have to be comedies, have to be actions, have to appeal to adults, and have to appeal to children, and have to have female characters.
You'll note that that the first Avengers movie, again, whatever we think of Joss Whedon, I was there in 2012. Y'all fucking loved the Avengers.
I hated that movie for the reasons that society is now claiming it didn't age well. By the way, just saying.
You're probably right, but my point is,
I enjoyed it, because I was 12.
I was an adult.
Fair.
I was 22 when it came out. I liked it fine. It's not. I haven't seen it in 10 years. If I saw it now and I didn't have to think about Joss Whedon, who is a bad director, whatever his skills as a writer, he is not good at knowing how to move a camera. But
He's sorry, no, we're not talking about that movie.
my point is that they jammed in the romance and it fucking sucked in the second movie.
Yes, Tom Hiddleston would be an amazing Robin Hood.
He would be an amazing Robin Hood.
So the point that I'm making is that all these action movies, and this happens in Swashbucklers a lot too, is they want to put a romance in for 4-quadrant bullshit, but they don't know what to fucking do with the romantic interest once they've got her in the movie, and that's where you wind up with sexy lamps.
Yeah.
And what makes it kind of interesting in this one is maybe she's not the most proactive character in the movie, but she does shit. She's the one who comes up with the admittedly extremely rudimentary plan to save Robin from execution.
She's Fiona.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, if there's any Robin Hood historians better than me listening to this podcast for some fucking reason, one, spend your time better.
Why are you listening to my podcast? God.
Are you just clicking any podcasts with Robin Hood in the title to yell at them in the comments? Don't do that. Don't do that. But also, to the best of my memory, Maid Marian is actually from a different ballad. So the first ballad of Robin and Marian is literally crossover fan fiction.
Oh, nice.
So she is, I think, the originally, and I could be wrong, I think originally the protagonist of a separate, unrelated ballad.
It's complicated because, like, and you can't make, to be clear, before anyone jumps down my throat with, like, I don't know, some version of Robin Hood where Maid Marian is actually Robin Hood. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, those are great. I have a few recs I'll link you.
Well, there you go. My point is that yes, Robin Hood has something like 50 different film adaptations, like 20 different TV shows, hundreds of books, hundreds of, again, probably some French or Eastern European opera I've never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
That's a jukebox musical or something. And again, that's a real thing, but it's not Robin Hood. It's like the vampire or something. So it's impossible to make a blanket statement about any Robin Hood adaptation that is accurate to all of them. I can't even say that they're all living in the shadow of this one because there were ones that existed before it.
Yeah, well, this one is living in the shadow of that one, and then this one kind of took its place in culture. Because, like I said, they did just cast the same Little John as a reference to that film.
The only film of any of these that doesn't live in the shadow of any others is the 1912 short version, because that was before any other films existed.
Yeah, well, it's all, like I said, there's a lot of conflicting stories of Robin Hood because it's a bunch of disparate ballads. So really, any Robin Hood story is supposed to be a Captain America First Avenger style origin story from the Ivanhoe character. So there's no accurate adaptation of Robin Hood. That's a contradiction. That is it.
Yeah, and I guess my point there was most of the when I speak of the adaptations of Robin Hood, I'm mostly speaking of American ones
or British ones,
Anglosphere ones.
Yeah,
which often very much fail to find anything for Maid Marian to do. I think in the 2018 one, she was dating the sheriff. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they usually have it that, like, in this one, Guy Gisborne has taken her fancy. Or was it the sheriff?
It's Guy.
I think it's Guy. Yeah.
Yeah, in Men in Tights, it's the sheriff that wants to marry her in Men in Tights. She does get to be a little proactive in the Disney one, if I'm remembering correctly. Not as much.
She is, yeah.
As her stock maid nurse character that's always there, who is Madame Cluck in that version.
Yes.
I love that the stock maid nurse character gets to fuck in this movie.
She does get to fuck.
The reason was she sleeping? I can't tell the characters.
Much. She's sleeping with Much.
Okay, Much. It's made to Little John so yeah. No, I love that it's like the reason Maid Marian gets to figure out where counter-government revolutionaries are meeting is because her elderly nurse is straight up fucking Much the Miller's son.
I am required to inform both of you because it's one of those things that this piece of information that I have in my head that I need to, like, force upon people. So no, in the 2018 version, I forgot, she's dating Will Scarlet.
Okay.
Oh,
Then Will Scarlet gets really badly burned and becomes the sheriff of Nottingham.
what? Okay,
All right.
that does sound like an edgier attempt at a
Very,
Yeah,
very
that sucks.
dumb.
very fan-forstic Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Extremely. 2018, like, we will never have a reckoning with the attempts at MCUifying every fucking thing
Right.
in the late 2010s.
No, it's insane. My wife, when Will Scarlet show up, she goes, "Who is this guy? The Red Ranger?" And I'm like, "Yes, his name is Scarlet." It's not that complicated a story.
They're a D&D party. Robin is a ranger, Much is a rogue, Will is a bard. I guess that makes Little John a monk and the friar a cleric.
Friar's a monk and Little John is a barbarian, typically.
I prefer the other way around because then you have a good balance. You need your heal. I guess the bard can be a healer in a pinch.
For the thing I was talking about, I did research for. I didn't write this joke for it. I had my friend David Gansel, aka Doggins. Look up Doggins on YouTube. He's hilarious. Wrote this joke. But when asked what Friar Tuck even contributes to the Merry Men, the joke David Gansel wrote was, "I'm really good at praying."
He's like a really good sword fighter, right? That's what they say.
Oh, in this, he's the master sword fighter, and in the Prince of Thieves, in the Kevin Costner version, he is an alcoholic who represents bigotry, especially towards Morgan Freeman's character.
Oh, right.
And in the Disney version, he is a priest who just lives his life in the Jesus-ist way possible, which means helping poor people. And he's not part of the Merry Men. He's just like a guy with the same cause.
Mm-hmm.
There's basically, Robin Hood is a series of stock characters, and the fun about making adaptations is you get to pick why these stock characters know each other. And like Friar, who is an amazing swordsman, and like Robin successfully getting his ass beat and going, "I like that guy. Can we hang out with him more often?" That's brilliant origin stories because these are not, again, there's no original Robin Hood story. These are tropes that have existed and evolved throughout time and changed. And you, when making an adaptation, you get to decide. And so that's why there are so many adaptations, is because that's a fun fucking thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You get to answer the question, why is there a fucking friar in their party?
Because they needed a proper healer. The bard is College of Swords. Come on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And there is usually a bard in, not usually, in some adaptations, in Alan Adale.
Yeah, the rooster.
Who is the rooster that narrates the Disney version, and then in When Things Were Rotten, the Mel Brooks TV show that preceded Men in Tights.
The what?
Alan Adale is the MC of a variety show. Like, he'll show up and be like, "We got a beautiful day here, beautiful day in Sherwood Forest. So you're saying you work for Prince John? Well, as it turns out, here's a funny story. Me and my men." That's how he plays it there. There's no Alan Adale here, despite having an actor named Alan Hale present playing Little John.
My brain is like sliding back into raw agony. Was Will Scarlet played by Dave Chappelle in Men in Tights?
No. I don't know the actor's name in Men in Tights, though he did later play Robin Hood. He's kind of a nobody at the time. Dave Chappelle played Morgan Freeman's character.
Oh, right.
From Prince of Thieves, which was an original invention of what if, while fighting in the Crusades, Robin made best friends with a Muslim, and a Muslim man, a practicing Muslim man, and he joined the Merry Men. And the thing about this is, I fucking hate Dave Chappelle in Men in Tights. I hate Dave Chappelle in general, but also like it's clearly like fucking minstrelsy. He's there to be someone to deliver racist jokes, and he's talked about how that impacted his early career, and you could see how uncomfortable he is. But I fucking love Morgan Freeman's character in Prince of Thieves. So if they just switched the good character in the good movie and the bad character in the bad movie, because the fantastic fucking thing that Morgan Freeman's character does is he's the only one who like talks back to Robin Hood all the time, like and is able to best him in like words, and that's because he just keeps sarcastically and demeaningly using Christian as if it's his name, as if like all people who follow Christ are the same to him. So he's like, "Hey, what are you doing, Christian?"
I mean, like any version that wants to treat King Richard as a hero does kind of have to reckon with the fact that, like, man, the Crusades were kind of fucky, man.
Yes, 100%. I think I understand why they made Robin the Lord of Locksley and why they made him loyal to a king. It's because, again, if this did not promote monarchy, the story would not have survived. I think we're ready for an adaptation that looks at what Robin Hood was before it tried to kiss the ass of monarchy. I think we're ready for one that has him as a farmer, has an undefined time period. No, that's Princess Bride. Sorry, never mind. We already got that.
Well, like the problem then becomes, there was this time period in Japanese art history where, for a variety of socio-political reasons, every painting had to have Mount Fuji in it,
Mm-hmm.
and this is an analogy I've also heard used to refer to Tolkien's stance in the fantasy genre. So, but the point that I'm making is that it could be way off in the background, it could be up in the foreground, but you had to have it in there unless you were intentionally avoiding it or you were standing on top of it. And
Yes.
so having trying to create a version of Robin Hood around this one is extremely difficult. We've watched Ridley Scott, who is whatever his many failings as a director, and he has many failings, but he's also done a lot of movies that I really love.
After how much I fucking hated Legend, I honestly at this point, and I'm willing to see a movie that would convince me otherwise, think he's kind of a shitty director who sometimes lucks out with a good team.
I think he's a director. My honest to God opinion on Ridley Scott is that he is a director who is always swinging for the fences, including at moments where he probably shouldn't be.
Yes. No,
But
100%. Yes, yes, yes.
he has made his fair share of stinkers. He has also made a fair share of movies where they got taken away from him and made worse. That's Kingdom of Heaven, where I said I haven't seen if there's a director's cut of Napoleon, but I remember saying, like, that's a real great rough version of the director's cut in 10 years.
I saw the director's cut of Legend and actually think it's even worse than the UK or US release.
I have not seen Legend. Here's my incredibly hot take: The Last Duel, extremely good. But my point is that we watched Ridley Scott just fucking fall flat on his face trying to make a movie around the Errol Flynn version. And so, like, they can try. You can drag Robin Hood at this point is basically Sherlock Holmes, where
And he fights Sherlock Holmes in this movie.
He does.
he does fight Sherlock Holmes in his movie. He is basically a setting unto himself.
Wait, is that why he's named Basil in the Great Mouse Detective?
Uh-huh.
Oh my holy
And I could be misremembering. I know a Sherlock actor cameos as the humans that live in his house. I think it might be Basil Rathbone.
Probably
Let me check.
still alive, I think.
It was.
The point I was sort of driving at is that, like, if you do a version of Robin Hood that is truer to the myth, like it's the coconut horse thing. The myth, this version of Robin Hood is now what people think of.
What the myth is, yes.
Yeah, what the myth is. They're going to go, why aren't you putting this part in or this part in? And then you have to go so far. You have to, like, make it cyberpunk or whatever the fuck. Or, the as I said, the 2018 version is basically trying to turn it into a modern military thing without actually altering the tech. That movie's extremely weird.
Or what if they were funny animals? And
The Kevin Costner version is trying to do what Tim Burton's Batman did and no homo the shit out of it.
Exactly. My opinion is, if you're gonna make another Robin Hood nowadays, don't go back to the myth. Yes, homo it. Make that Archer gay. Doesn't matter if it's a lady Robin Hood and Maid Marian or if it's like Robin and some dude. You got to do it.
Yeah. No, yeah, the flamboyance is the appeal of the character. And that's why the parody of Prince of Thieves is called Men in Tights, because Kevin Costner did not wear tights in that movie, and it's like, yeah, well, that's not fucking Robin Hood then. Robin Hood, like, I don't know what is more flamboyant than swinging on a rope and going, ha 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 ha. Like, so yeah, no, there are a lot of really good queer versions of Robin Hood. Princess of Thieves is not necessarily queer, but that's like it's a TV movie that's the hero princess trope of Maid Marian and Robin's daughter leading a new group of merry men during the point in history where John actually did succeed Richard in the throne.
Wait, I'm having like, oh my god, is Keira Knightley in that film?
It might be the origin of Elizabeth Swann. You might be right. I think you're right. Yeah, that's the
Oh my god! Holy shit!
reason Keira Knightley gets cast the way she did is because of it's Disney even. It's fucking Disney. So yes,
Wow.
that movie invented Elizabeth Swann. It's cute. It's a movie to leave on in the background and not to pay too close attention to. It's a fucking straight to DVD Disney movie. It's cute. I like it a lot. But there's also a bunch of books that make either deal with the daughter of Robin Hood or make Robin Hood a woman. You remove the queer coding from this story and you remove the story.
Mm-hmm. And in order to bring it back, you have to do so much changing that it just stops being. Just write something new.
But 100%, and that's what the reason we are fascinated in this as a culture is because of Ivanhoe, who did write something new. As I said earlier, find it funny that this originates the queer coding of Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham, but only to make Sherlock Holmes look so much more hetero by comparison. Like, the reason we have a foppish Prince John and a bumbling Sheriff of Nottingham is so when evil Sherlock steps in, you're like, oh, who's this fucking guy? Oh my god.
It is extremely funny. We've got Claude Rains as theoretically the main villain, but he's Claude Rains, who will in fact be nominated for an Oscar the year after this one for, I want to say, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I gotcha. No, yeah, and no, it's so funny that it's like the main thread of this story is Claude Rains. He'll show up a couple times. Anyway, look how fucking cool Basil Rathbone is.
He barely does anything. He sits around getting pissy. Hell, even the sheriff comes up with the plan to trap Robin, which is another thing that, like, usually he does the split the arrow thing and he gets away clean.
Yeah. No, there's no consistency to who splits the arrow and what happens afterwards. Because in Princess of Thieves, Keira Knightley splits the arrow, and that's a thing that had never been done before, and everyone acts like it's the first time it's happened. And in Men in Tights, someone splits Robin's arrow. It's just known, like, the guy from Ivanhoe has his origin story, and an arrow is split are the only two fucking rules to adapting Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you gotta do the arrow split.
It's so funny to see the trio of villains turned into two kind of non-threats just because Basil Rathbone was such a big movie star. Like, even this quintessential adaptation has things it's changing just to appeal to the studios.
We haven't really talked much about the Oscars it won, but on the other hand, they're all technicals. So it's just like, hey, would you believe me if I told you this movie is very well shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. And is it? It's, my wife said, it's like, you can't, there's always chaos going around, but not in a I can't tell what's happening on screen way, in a realistic depiction of revolution way.
Mm-hmm.
I love the shot where they're fighting in the banquet hall towards the end, and we see a really far away shot where we can't tell what's happening. We only see the glint of the swords in the studio lighting. That is fucking brilliant. As well as, like, Robin and Basil bringing their fight off camera and us seeing the fight only with their shadows.
Oh, that was so fucking cool.
Like, yeah, no, that should get a fucking Oscar, and it did. As well as, like, the guy who wouldn't have died getting the career boost, the guy who would have died without this movie getting the career boost to get more movies after it is fantastic. And the music is great. He did a great job.
I remain extremely fond of the shot where, they go into the tavern where Prince John's men are, like, raiding the place, and an arrow hits the guard in the back and also puts out the candle behind him. I will say this one best film editing, best art direction, and best score. For best editing, here's a tip to your editors. Cut around Robin knocking an arrow when he's threatening someone, because it always looks like that person's just sitting there watching him knock an arrow. Like, you could do something about that, man.
It is kind of funny that so much of this genre is defined by a guy who's bad at fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a very excellent horseback rider, and he actually hated this director and didn't want to work with him again because he felt the horses were not treated properly on their past film together.
So I saw the top letterbox comment for this movie is the horses don't know they're in a movie. At least it's about the horses.
I think it's probably if you give the horses too much direction, your star walks off set. He's like, stop bossing them around. So that's what's going on with the horses.
Yeah. Horses do not know they're in a movie.
Wonderful. Oh, so also the during the archery contest, there is a guy who never has any lines of dialogue, who is just described as being Welsh but never speaks, and we don't hear his accent. That guy actually is so much of the identity of this film. That is the Howard Hill, who is the real life Robin Hood as far as archery prowess goes at the time that this film was being shot. Not only like any time are you seeing an arrow flying and the archer is not on screen, is that Howard Hill firing it, because the actors were really having arrows fired at them and they're just wearing a bunch of layers of padding, but you need an archer who will never ever hit their face. So not only is that his job, he also recorded all the archery Foley, because he knows archery well enough to understand when it sounds the coolest. And the arrow flying sound that he designed for this movie is used in every single Star Wars film by Ben Burtt and Skywalker Sound.
Ben Burtt fascinates me as a dude who's just a full-on sound nerd.
Yes. Yeah. No. That's why the Wilhelm scream, why you've heard of it, is because Ben Burtt thought it was funny and decided to use it in every film he was hired on.
My point was going to be that I guess you don't get into that kind of job unless you're a huge nerd for it. I do want to note that I have in my notes, the winning team of archers, 2 of those dudes have like titles, and then the third guy is just the Welshman. Like, what? What is this? Give him a title. Come on.
It's the first Welshman they've ever heard of, so they don't need to give him a title beyond the Welshman. They're like, you're from Wales? People can be from Wales? We're going to give you the title the Welshman.
As the person who people in her high school still mostly knew her at graduation as the kid from Alaska. Yeah, fair.
Oh, yeah. I have a question for you, actually. Alaska, so fictional, right?
No.
Oh, okay. But, like, up until recently?
Like, how do you mean?
Was it ever non-fictional?
Yes.
With the whole time, I mean? So, like, it wasn't like...
It was there the whole time, yeah.
All right. I'm going to have to see evidence, but I'll take you at face value for now.
So what you're saying is you're going to have to go looking for Alaska?
Oh my...
Exactly.
I've never read that book. I don't actually like John Green's writing style. He seems like a perfectly nice guy. Just doesn't do it for me. Do not get at me.
You're not a teenage girl.
Okay, so...
I'm a 25-year-old girl. A 35-year-old. Christ.
Yeah.
I'm walking into the ocean. Y'all
and
finish
that's
up.
what happened with me earlier with scheduling this.
I'm walking into the Long Island Sound. Y'all finish up. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, go ahead. Final thoughts. Come on.
Shit rules.
Were you about to go first? Yeah.
It rules.
Gillian's our first time watcher. Her final thoughts are...
It rules, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, if you like adventure films, if you like any film that has ever put adventure as a label on its genre, you have seen scenes from this film shot for shot already. If you want to watch the movie they're all from, it's on archive.org. It's free.
It's also on Tubi. Poob has it for you.
Poob.
I don't know what Tubi is. I live in Mexico. That sounds like you made it up, but also I'm trusting you on the Alaska thing, so...
Poob has it for you.
I've heard it is on Fleabo, but I don't like watching with ads, and I don't have the money for Fleabo Plus.
I don't know if it's on Hebe or anything.
It might be on Hebe if you want to look it up. No, it's on archive.org. Watch it for free. If you have Tubi, good for you, I guess. Here's a fucking Oscar, I guess. Congrats.
It's free, and Unlike archive.org, I can just put that on my TV without needing to. I have to have my laptop separate to take notes. Leave me alone.
Oh, you can download from archive.org an MP4. So if you have a USB input in your TV, it's just as fast. If you have a USB stick with MP4 files on it, you could watch them on your TV.
Charlotte, do you have anything you'd like to plug besides USBs into my TV?
Yeah, I would like to plug some USBs into your TV. I am the lesbian swashbuckler comedian. I want everything I make from this point on to be a queerer version of this movie we just watched. I have a notification Discord where you can check out, my future projects are what matters, and that's where you get notified when they come out. I do improvised dubs of Delicious in Dungeon / Dungeon Meshi every Friday on Picardo. I'm the creator of Real Time Fandub. That's with Real Time Fandub. And I am working on a podcast that very much could be described as Sherlock Holmes versus Robin Hood, but not in this way that I don't want to reveal too much about yet, but there is a sapphic swashbuckling whodunit in the works.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. Gillian, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I'm Cutie Puppy Fire on most of the socials. Give me a follow.
Go follow Gillian.
I might already. I don't remember. Do you?
As always, you can find me, Ellie, on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos with dashes between the words. You can find me on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42. And you can find this podcast on Blue Sky at Biggest Night Pod. We are available on both Spotify and YouTube. And if you follow us on YouTube, be sure to give us a subscribe, maybe like and comment on the videos so that you can tell me which parts you like and which parts you don't.
Thanks to both Gillian and Charlotte for coming out tonight.
Charlie, please.
Charlie.
You're not my doctor.
Charliette of... I don't fucking know. Both of you for coming out tonight. We have apparently not gotten enough of comedically tinged adventure movies. For our next episode, we are going to 1956 to talk about the film Around the World in 80 Days. I hope to see you there.